All right, guys, it is time to discuss strategies. It's probably the most requested thing I get on my channel in terms of, strategies for hut and versus, I guess, technically, and how to best set those up to give yourself the best chance to win. I need to preface this by saying that strategies, there's no cookie cutter thing that is the best. There are some that perform better than others, but it's all really going to come down to your play style, and something that works really well for me isn't going to work for you. Just like why Regs plays on default strategies, the best player in the world, arguably, while Gren plays with a specific set. Eki plays with a specific set that's entirely different. There's really no one perfect form of strategies, but I'm going to go through and explain what they all do so that you can experiment and then give you some tips as to which ones I think you should try out, and we'll go from there. So let's get into the strategies and tips for NHL 21. Now, first things first, we need to talk about your team build, okay? Now, obviously, you're not going to have a team like this. I don't really think anyone else has a team like this. That is why I invested so much to provide content for you guys that, and show you guys what, the best team looks like. But this is essentially how you want to set up your team, okay? You'll notice here, all right-handed players on the left side, left-handed players on the right side. The reason for that is still one-timers are king, and in the offensive zone, once you get set up, having a one-timer option on every wing is fantastic. I've seen a lot of questions about playing wings on their strong side, so lefties on left, righties on right, because of the backdoor meta. Having that set up off the rush is obviously a little bit better, but it's not something you only want to focus on, because if the rush doesn't happen and you have to carry the puck in and now you're cycling around the zone, you've left yourself completely jammed up because there's no one-timer opportunity. Your opponent is going to see that, and you're just going to be stuck turning the puck over after 3 minutes of circling in the offensive zone. Other than that, here is my tips for your forward in terms of building your lineup. Wingers need to be as fast as possible, okay? NHL 21 finally gave the smaller players some value. So anyway, whether it be with the Speedster Synergy, whether it be with activating Distributor, anything like that, you need to focus on getting the fastest wingers you can. And again, the reason is to take advantage of that rush meta. The defensemen are having a really hard time turning around to the blue line, and you can burn by them. For the center position, it is all going to come down to face-offs, and that's pretty much the most important thing. Obviously, if you can have a better player, you can have a better player, but face-offs are king. It's how you control the puck off the start. The higher advantage you have there, it leads you to a ton more possessions throughout the game. So obviously, having a better face-off stat will help with that. I will have a video that will come out that will show you all of the face-off counters, but having a high face-off stat is key. And it is also the one position in this game where you don't really have to worry about speed all that much, okay? So Ryan O'Reilly, while he's slower, will work fine, okay? This is why Bergeron is so valuable early on in this game. If you can get Howitzer activated and Distributor like myself, he's got 91 speed. But if he didn't, regardless of that, he's still fantastic at 93 faceoffs, okay? So also need to mention that size down the middle is super important because, again, in the defensive zone, okay, if you go all small boys in the defensive zone, you will not get the puck back. So size still matters in the defensive zone, but offensively, you can get away with the Howie Morenzes in NHL 21, where in NHL 20, you literally just couldn't anywhere on the ice. It didn't matter offensive or defensive because of how the game played, okay? So I just wanted to go over that, and the same thing on defense, okay? Right-handers on the left-hand side, left-handers on the right-hand side. And the reason for this, again, is to just always have the one-timer option available to you. Now, one-timers are super weak in this game, but I will show you in another video, in an advanced tip video, how to actually get a strong one-timer off from the point, because there is a little bit of a trick to it. Okay, now let's get into the controller settings. Let's just, a few things I want to cover here because, again, I need to do some myth busting for you guys because there's a big misconception about pass assist, so we'll start with this. Okay, auto backskate. Make sure this is turned off. Guys, if you are using auto backskate, especially in NHL 21, you are going to give up so many more odd man rushes and breakaways because your D just, when they turn around and they make the decision automatically to turn around, it's already going to be too late. Everyone has fast wingers. You're just going to absolutely blow by them. Turn this off, okay? You backskate by holding L2, and then you get to manually decide. To be honest, I turn around immediately the second I lose the puck. Even in the offensive zone, I defend with my back to the actual puck carrier, and again, I will show you why that is and the best way to do it. Vibration, I also turn off. There's I see really no purpose to it. I mean, in a sweaty game, do you really need your controller flipping out when it's already insanely difficult? I just turned that up, but that's personal preference. Pass assist. Okay. For years, people have thought that, lowering your pass assist will make better passes. Pass assist has no impact on the actual pass. What pass assist increases is the bubble around each player that you're passing to and the range that they can actually accept a pass cleanly. Okay? So you still have to aim your passes, but if you lower this, okay, that means that the bubble in which they will actually be able to reach out and accept the pass is going to shrink, meaning there is no value to it. Always leave it at 100, guys, please. Next thing I want to talk about is camera, okay? There is, in my opinion, two options that I would recommend. Other than that, you're really, you're not giving yourself the biggest advantage in terms of view, okay? This is what I use. I get asked about it a ton because it is not popular among, the outside of the one percenters, the streamers and things like that, the competitive players, okay? So zone is the camera angle I prefer the most, and the reason being is I'm a defenseman in sixes, so I play on League Gaming, which is the most competitive 6v6 league in North America, and when you're on defense, if you're using overhead or classic, you can't see behind you. You can't see outside of your zone, so if someone comes off out of the penalty box or anything like that, you can't see it. Zone will allow you to see the neutral zone. It's like a little bit lower, far back view. It'll allow you to see all the zones when you're playing, and that's why I've stuck with it. And then in 1v1, I've just gotten used to it, and I love it. I think it is the best view. It's not as straight up as overhead. It gives you a better perspective, in my opinion. The only other option, in my opinion, is overhead, okay? That is the only other one that I would choose. You can go classic, but classic is really far and tight in. Again, you're going to miss things behind you because you just don't see them. So again, I would always recommend going zone with auto zoom, and that's just what I use. Alright guys, so here are my strategies that I am currently using, and I'm going to explain them all, and a lot of them will change depending on the opponent I'm playing as well, okay? I'm going to explain that maybe different play styles, maybe you have a play style that's a little bit different than mine, and, why changing one of these will, benefit you more than it will me. Again, there is no cookie cutter in terms of strategies, but I want to explain them. I think this will give you guys some more knowledge and help you guys out building your own strategy set, okay? So, on the forecheck, there is two options, in my opinion, that you should use. The 1-2-2 passive and the 1-2-2 aggressive. The 1-2-2 passive is very, very effective in NHL 20. In NHL 21, it's not as effective, but it can really, really slow down the rush. Now, what the 1-2-2 passive is it'll have one guy attacking the puck carrier up in the zone. With the 1-2-2 passive, what it does is it stops, or they will cover all of the passing lanes. So your AI will look to stop the breakout passes. So if you have an opponent that you're playing that constantly passes the puck out of the zone, so he does not bring it out with his defenseman, he does not carry it out with his center or anything like that up the ice, weaving in and out. He literally just passes the puck 4 or 5 times along the rush. The 1-2 passive is what you're going to want to do, and again, the reason being is because your AI will stick close to your opponent, and they will look to break up the passing lanes. And again, just being in the way is usually enough of a deterrent. And then when you can take control of that the high end forward that's attacking the puck carrier, that is when you look to get the puck back. The 1-2-2 aggressive, again, that is trying to attack the puck. So if you've got one guy that is always carrying the puck out by himself. Okay, so if you're playing someone who is really good at sixes, you'll notice this. You'll take one guy, maybe make one pass, and then carry it up by himself. Try using the 1-2-2 aggressive. Again, that is going to be more focused on the puck carrier as opposed to the passing lanes of the 1-2-2 passive. This is going to change. This is the only two that I would recommend for the forecheck, and it is going to depend on your opponent, so watch out for that. The neutral zone. Again, in my opinion, there's two really popular options. There is one I think is becoming more and more effective. However, it's important that you know how to play using them. So the 1-2-2 red is the best neutral zone to play, but it is also the most difficult and can give up the most chances. So the 1-2-2 red will, by definition, defenders will hold the neutral zone and apply pressure to the breakout at the red line, meaning that they will kind of step up and try and, put a lot of pressure on in the neutral zone at the red line. So it is an aggressive style of neutral zone. How the 1-2-2 red works in its effect, how you use it effectively is you need to be switching to the player that they are passing to immediately. You need to always be the one that is attacking the puck carrier, whether it be R1 or bumping them off the puck. If you are someone who sits back with one player and lets their AI defend the rush, the 1-2-2 red is not going to do well for you, because the AI just isn't going to do enough to take the puck away. Okay, so if that is the case, you need to switch to the 1-4, and the 1-4 is basically everyone falling back to the neutral or the blue line, and trying to make essentially a wall. And again, there are better opponents to use this on than others, but again, it's the easiest to learn. However, in NHL 21, the 1-3-1 is viable because it will make sure that you've got one defenseman back, that if you get beat along the boards by your strong side defenseman, the defenseman that is trying to cover the boards where the guy is just flying down the wing, you can cut him off and help out that defenseman because there's always going to be one guy back deep. I've seen a lot of players use it, and I've tried it a little bit. It is effective, but I'm always going to recommend the 1-2-2 red. Okay, the trap and forecheck. And again, this is going to decide on the opponent you are playing. If you are going to use the 1-4, do not use trap all the way to forecheck because, again, you're just not going to... It kind of nullifies itself, okay? So you want to sit back and you want to basically make your stand at the blue line if you're using the 1-4, okay? If you're using full forecheck, which I recommend, because if you are a good player, the best players are the ones that put a ton of pressure on and do it well. Because that's why you always lose the puck against players that are better than you. Usually it's because they play really tight defense, defending the rush, not in their own zone. Okay, so if you're using the 1-2-3 red, I use full forecheck. And again, you want to make sure your player's switching as the pass happens, okay? You're always being the one that is on the puck carrier. That is the best way to do this. But again, if you switch to the 1-4, all the way down to trap, okay? Because if you have it all the way on forecheck, you're going to have a couple guys that want to step up before the blue line. They don't want to, be tight on the line. That one will be way up, and he's just going to get walked around, and then you're nullifying the point to having this as a synergy, or as a strategy, sorry. Offensive pressure. Now, this one, again, is dangerous. It's going to depend on your team build. I can be really aggressive because I have a fast team. My entire lineup is elite in terms of skating, so I can get away with this. If you do not have fast defensemen, and I'm talking like 85 and above, okay, and even 86 and above would probably be where I would feel a little bit more comfortable, you want to make sure that this is on conservative. Offensive pressure, what this dictates, this strategy itself, is on the rush. So as you're bringing the puck out of your zone, your defenders, if you say you have it on full out attack, okay, your defenders and everyone are going to be skating up regardless of what is happening with the puck. So if you're weaving in and out trying to get around someone, everyone is just going to be trying to push up to get into the offensive zone. I would never recommend going full out attack because if someone is good at slowing you down and bumping you off the puck, it's going to be a breakaway every time because your defensemen are skating up with you. Conservative will make sure that your defensemen and your wingers aren't flying up the entire time to, actually be able to come back and defend if you are to lose it in the neutral zone, okay? Those are the two. So if you have a really good team, really fast defense, go with aggressive. If you do not, stick with conservative. It is this will not impact you a ton. It's not going to help you a lot, but it can hurt you a lot. So next, defensive pressure. Again, this is going to depend on how good of a player you are, okay? So there is two. High pressure, protect net, that's the other one. So high pressure, puck side attack, normal, contain puck, and protect net. So there's really two, okay? There's no in between. High pressure or protect net. That is what you're going to choose between. Now, if your opponent is only, and I mean only, going for backdoor tap-in goals, which is the majority of the player base right now, okay? Use protect net. There's no need to try and put pressure on if he's not going to shoot the puck at all. And because D2D one-timers are pretty useless in the current state because players don't know how to actually take them correctly, you want to make sure that you're not hurting yourself. So you can let them cycle around the outside. Let them have their TOA. That's fine. But if they can't pick the corners of the net with a short side wrister, then they're just looking for the backdoor pass. Make sure everyone's in here. Defensive strategy, I always like collapsing. So even when I have it on high pressure, that means that the one player that is supposed to be attacking the puck carrier will go and attack it. The rest is going to collapse into the neutral zone in the slot. And again, The reason why I have it on this is to make sure that that backside defender has someone on it. And for the most part, I'm the one manually controlling that. In the defensive zone, what I've come to now do, because you cannot trust your AI to actually intercept that backdoor pass. I just let my AI play the one attacking the puck carrier, and I sit man-to-man on the backdoor defender because that's what everyone's doing. Everyone is just forcing backdoor passes, and if it's not, if you're getting burned by it, then you're getting burned by it. So I would recommend high pressure if you are playing someone that isn't just forcing the backdoors, but if he is dancing around, a lot of L2s, absolutely working you one-on-one in the defensive zone, high pressure is not for you, okay? High pressure is the best way to eliminate time on attack, but protect net is probably what you want for the majority of the player base. Again, and then once you feel a little more comfortable and you know how to actually use the skill stick and whatnot effectively and bumping players off the puck, then switch to high pressure. That would be my advice. Defensive strategy, leave it on collapsing. Tight point, there's really no need. If you go tight point, that means the slot is wide open. Okay, so all it takes is the defender to walk around you, and because D2D one-timers just aren't happening, just don't do this. Staggered, same kind of thing. You're taking one player out of the out of the slot to kind of play up to intercept that D2D pass. Since it's not happening, stop. There's no need. Until D2D one-timers are becoming back into the meta, you don't need to worry about that. Go on collapsing. Penalty kill, passive box. This is, again, you want to cram everyone into the middle to stop the backdoor passes. The power play. The umbrella shooting and overload are the only synergies. I use overload, but they're all pretty broken, in my opinion. They don't really have an effective way to do it, and they haven't changed in so long. I just do overload, and if you've seen my how to score video, that's how it works, so it's the same thing. Now, onto the control breakout. You're never really going to use this, and honestly, it was really effective, and there was a nice slap pass play that worked in the prior games, but because passing, it just does not, pass receptions don't really work. It's really tough to use, so it doesn't really matter what any of these are. To get this to actually happen, you have to sit behind your net and wait for everyone to set up the breakout. Power play breakout, don't worry about it. Quick breakout does matter, okay? If you are getting absolutely hammered in your zone trying to break the puck out, please switch to close support. It's going to give you multiple passing options. Always look for the center first and then break out between the wings. Never just go along the boards because that's how you get pinched off. Go behind your net, circle around your net, and look for a pass into the center to break out of the zone, okay? If you are able to get out of the zone just fine, go leave zone early because that's going to help you get those 2-on-1 rushes on some of those. And then 3-on-3 offense, always go passive because, again, you're just asking to get burned if you go anything more than that. Let's get on the offensive lines. Everything should be behind the net, in my opinion. Behind the net is still the best strategy. It is the best way to counter the skill zone. If you don't know what the skill zone is, that is basically playing someone who takes their wingers and just sits in the middle and doesn't do anything. Okay, they let their AI try to do everything. They're just literally sitting in the middle trying to block any shots. Behind the net effectively eliminates that because you are making them chase you behind and you're cycling around. Eventually, you will open something up. These, do not worry about these too much, okay, guys? The carry and dump, leave it at 5 out of 10. Energy and efficiency, leave that at 5 out of 10 as well, because if you go full energy, they play really slow. If you go full efficiency, they play really fast, but they run out of energy so fast that it's not worth it. And same with efficiency. You just don't get enough speed. Leave that in the middle. That's what I would recommend doing. So you want the same thing on all 4 lines. The defensive pairing, I would make sure you don't hit pinch. Again, the way that this meta works, if you were just asking for 2-on-1s and breakaways by going pinch, because again, that is just fast wingers is the meta. Cycle and shoot, same thing. This doesn't matter really for you because you're the one taking the shot and controlling it. Okay, guys, that is going to do it. I hope that this helps out and explains some things for you guys. I will have a video breaking down how to play defense with this as well as the offensive tips I use to go ahead with these strategies and explain to you guys maybe some other things that you might be missing. But if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.